I want to welcome Lionel Richie, who needs no introduction because he sold millions and millions of records as a singer and a songwriter. He's here today to talk about his new project, Tuskegee, and also a show that is going to be a tribute show on CBS. How are you?
Fabulous, man. Congratulations on your John Lennon Award.
Oh.
The writing, I had to come on. I had to throw that in.
So
That's
he outed
fantastic.
me. I'm a songwriter.
Yeah, I got to do that. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And that's one of the things I want to talk to you about is songwriting, as we're jumping right in, because you have this new project and they're based on a lot of the standards that you've written over the years, with duets with some of the most prominent country singers, Kenny Rogers, Willie Nelson. What inspired that project?
Well, I got to tell you something. First of all, I'm laughing now when you use the word standards, right? All right, so let me tell you, if I had to retitle this album, it would be called All the Songs They Told Me Would Ruin My Career.
Really?
So it's funny, here I am now 30 years later, and everyone's going, do you have, talk about those standards and what it, the answer is, it was really just probably triumphed over complete stupidity of not knowing that there were categories.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that there was R&B and black folks had to stay in R&B, and I didn't know that rock and roll was called, oh, that's the white section. You know, I didn't know that.
Right.
Because when I started out in the business, radio was country. I was born and raised in Alabama. And so there weren't R&B and pop, it was just Patsy Cline, you know.
And was it that your songs were just strongly written songs? They were strongly structured?
Well, see, I thought I was competing against Marvin Gaye, Billy Joel, Paul McCartney, Stevie Wonder. I thought I was going after that group. Okay. I didn't know that there was a category that came with the group. So with me, I just kind of got in there, and when I first went into radio, approached radio, I remember hearing phrases like, well, Just to Be Close to You is a great R&B song, but we can't put it on pop because it's too black. Okay. And then I bring back Easy Like Sunday Morning. Oh my God, Lionel, it's a great song, pop, but it's too white. We can't play it on R&B.
But so now a lot of these songs are permeating through in the country genre. You've written a lot of songs for Kenny Rogers.
Perfect.
What was it about those songs that made them resonate?
The story. I always tell people every day, there's really no difference between Take This Job and Shove It and Oh Baby Don't Leave Me. You know, country and R&B are real songs. When I say that, it becomes a story of someone's life, of an experience. You know, and once you get to be the story of someone's life, that's forever. In other words, these songs kind of stuck through the high school years, the college years, the pep rally years, I got a divorce years, I fell in love years. I mean, whatever it was, you know, they stuck. And I think what makes it so interesting is to hear a Kenny Chesney talk about when he was 9 years old. Of course, I must tell you, the age scared me to death when he said that, but okay, I'll accept it. But, you know, when Kenny Chesney tells me about when he was going to baseball practice and all he heard was this songwriter called Lionel Richie, you know, or Tim McGraw will tell his story, or Jennifer Nettles will tell her story, or, you know, it's just that it becomes a part of their growing up.
Do you consider yourself a songwriter-singer or a singer-songwriter?
I'm a songwriter-singer.
Okay.
You know, I'm a songwriter-storyteller, because I don't really, you know, if you want a real singer, you know, it's a Jennifer Nettles. You know, if you want somebody who's going to, you know, I consider myself missing probably. Instead of going for the killer note, I'll go for the story, where you get the emotion.
And thank God for it. You're talking to the Wall Street Journal, and when we look at the careers of a lot of people, those that write songs are the ones that continue to prosper.
Yeah. Well, to me, it probably is it makes an interview certainly much more interesting when you can sit down and ask the person, so what were you thinking when you wrote that? Opposed to what were you thinking when you sang the song? Well, the answer is, you know, I got a hit record, it's if you're a singer, but, you know, or you say it touched me. But with a songwriter, you can actually go in and say, well, this emotion, this is where I was at the time, this is what I was thinking, you know, and of course I just felt compelled to write a song like that.
A lot of the songs that you've done have been, well, you've had so many hits, but a lot of them are ballads. And they're songs that can be used in movies. They're songs that can be used in weddings. Those songs for the general market have not performed as well now. Ballads, where have they gone and why have they gone away?
Well, they've gone away so much on radio, but they're coming back. But because everything now is beat driven. But where it hasn't gone away is, you know, we do 3 to 5 million weddings a year, you know, just on Lionel, don't you remember being at my wedding? And I go, no, I don't. But they said 4 of your songs were at the wedding.
Wow.
You know what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
It's even though, you know, I think the word I want to stay away from now is, in fact, I've always stayed away from it, is hip. Hip means today, right now. And when I say this, you know, I couldn't figure out at the beginning of the Grammy thing, what's the difference between a song of the year and record of the year? I found out. Record of the year means it was the trend at that time. Song of the year means it's forever. You have a copyright. It will now play for the rest of your life. And so when you think about the guy who said, my son wanted to be married on the same record that we were married on. So he's, you know, in other words, the husband and wife, and now has the son, and the son came along and said, I want to do Mom and Dad's song. Wow. So Endless Love was that song. That's amazing. You know, so when it passes down through history that song is a part of the story of love, which I must also add, of all the subjects I could have picked, love is the only subject that does not go out of style. People don't want to hear, I like you, let's be friends. They want to hear something corny, like, I love you. That's just forever. And
when you embark now, you're going on a tour.
Forever.
To
That's
support,
forever.
Your new record. Do you think that this is going to be kind of a re-foray into country, maybe putting out an album of originals after this?
You know that's coming. Absolutely. The originals are next. In fact, we were going to go with the originals first. How this came up in conversation was, how do you start something without making it appear that it's a gimmick? And so I realized that, you know, I've been a member of the CMAs since 1983, 84, 83. Actually a little younger than that. So I've always been there. So the thing I say now to people is, no, I'm not going country. I'm just joining my songs that were already country. And the testament to that is that, A, every one of these country artists, these are songs I didn't talk them into. These are their favorite Lionel Richie songs. That's number one. And number two, more importantly, is that I was born and raised in Tuskegee, Alabama. So I'm not a transplant.
Right, right.
You know, or a replant, should I say. You know, I am that guy who was born and raised from those clay hills of Alabama. So it's almost a natural transition.
And you're going to be honored on a show on CBS. You've been honored by the Apollo. You've won tons of awards. What are you most proud of when you look back at your musical career?
I think the part that I love the most, minus the awards, it's a songwriter's dream when the world can sing your song. Any language, any religion, any culture. You know, in fact, there are places in the Middle East where the music is not allowed.
Both artistically and financially.
You understand me? Thank you very much. We'll use
that.
Yeah,
but you have all the publishing royalties coming in.
Well, thank you very much. Make that clear. My son is happy about that. My kids are very happy about that. But, you know, when you start thinking about what really happened in my career was that the whole world got a chance to celebrate. And if nothing else as a songwriter, you know, that's the key to the whole writing in the first place, is that everyone got a chance to appreciate it.
And well, you're speaking in the past tense, but you have so many things that you could do going forward. Do you expect, because how long is this tour going to last?
This tour will last the rest of my life. And by the way, I've never stopped touring. The answer is, when people say, oh my God, he's not touring America, I'm touring Australia, we're touring Europe, we're touring the Middle East.
You have a big following in Arab countries.
Arab countries. So in other words, when you say we're going to do a world tour, it takes 3 years to do the world tour, or a year and a half to do just, you know, just America and Europe. I mean, so when you start thinking about when do we stay home, the answer is we don't. You know, we come in for a pit stop, you know, and but mainly when you start dealing with a world entity, it's hard, you know, to stay home. So if we're not on the road here in America, we're on the road in Europe, we're on the road in Australia, we're on the road in Japan, we're on the road in China.
I have one more question. You talk about the rigors of being on the road, which can take a toll on musicians. Two people that you touched deeply, younger people, Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston. How did that affect you?
It affected me deeply. Honestly, it's a reminder to me always that as glamorous as this business is, it's also treacherous. This is not a business for the faint, the weak at heart, and even if you are the strongest person in the world, it'll still take you out. It's a business of excellence and perfect and all these words that we can't maintain over a period of a long time. So when you start thinking about Michael Jackson and what he did, he was the king of the world. And then all of a sudden it fell on his shoulders. And it takes one little incident to throw you off in the case of his hair burning or whatever the case, or just turning 40. It doesn't take much, you know. And Whitney, you know, you just trip and fall one time, you make one mistake in public and it becomes a series of trips and you're falling and you keep falling and you realize, wow, are you going to get up? And the answer is you can't get up. And then the pressure of being perfect is the toughest thing in the world. So I know when we all started out, Michael and I used to talk about it. We'll never let that happen to us. We'll never let drugs and alcohol happen to us, you know. But then again, it becomes just one day something happens and you didn't plan on doing that and it just flipped on you. And hopefully you have some people around you that will pull you out of it for a moment and save you. I must be honest with you, I've got a wonderful group of people around me that in case anything goes wrong, their job is to do one thing. First of all, they're friends. Secondly, their job is, I don't care what it is, get me out of it. You know, pull me out of it, and I don't care what I'm supposed to do, get me away from it. When you have those kind of people in your camp, you're going to survive a little bit longer, but the pressure is enormous. And I'm so sorry for both of them because the talent is not what was suffering. It was just the physical, it was the mental.
Well, you continue to push forward and carry on their memories as well. And we look forward to your music and your tour. Lionel Richie, thank you so much for coming in.
Pleasure.